I've hesitated doing a question and answer for fear of sounding like a know-it-all, which I am definitely not. I have been hiking I started hiking about 30 years ago, but didn't really get into the modern era, I guess, of backpacking until 2015. I've done two through hikes, the Pacific Crest Trail and the Pinhoti Trail, and I've done several section hikes, thousands of miles in section hikes. And so again, I don't know it all, but I have learned some things over these years of backpacking and hiking. And so I'm going to answer a few questions that people have sent me. And so let's get started. All right, let's get started with the first question, all right? First question comes from Chip Cormus, 2840. He says, as a fellow graybeard fellow, what stretches or activities do you do before, during, or after a day of hiking? Looking for suggestions to help me stay on the trails for years still to come. Thanks, sir, and love the work you take putting out your videos. Well, you're welcome, Chip. I don't do a lot of stretches like I should, but there are several stretches that I do. In the morning, one of the main things that I do to get ready is I will, just almost right after I get up, is I will do 10 sit-ups and 10 push-ups. Then sometimes I will put my foot up against a tree and had like a 45-degree angle, and I will lean forward to put pressure on my my ankles. Then another stretch that I'll do is I will sit down on the ground and I will reach forward to my left foot, toe, whatever, and grab it and then pull forward again. That loosens up the hamstrings, and then I'll do the same thing for the right one to stretch it out. And also another thing I'll do is I will grab my shoe or my foot, whatever, and then pull it up to try to touch my buttocks. And again, loosening up and trying to stretch out my thigh muscles. And again, I'll do it for my left foot as well. But those are just a few of the stretches that I do in the morning. But again, do not overstretch, or you're going to pull a muscle and you're going to be gone for the rest of the day. And one of the things that I do that really helped me out a lot, whenever I'll stop to get water or something like that, I'll take my pack off. Whenever I take my pack off, what I'll do is I'll do a stretch. In fact, a physical therapist taught me this because my upper back muscles really was killing me towards the end of the PCT. And it will flare up every once in a while. But she said, if you'll take your hands and grasp your hands together and pull up as far as you can and as far out as you can, and stretch your upper back and your shoulder muscles, try to pull them apart. Then she said, put your hands behind your back and then try to see how far up you can go. I can't go very far right now, but see how far up you can go, and just basically stretch your shoulders out, your back muscles, and your chest muscles right here. Hikers we emphasize our leg muscles and things like that, and we neglect our upper muscles. Oh, don't neglect your upper body. And again, if you're getting some upper back muscle strain and stuff like that, try those two stretches. Then at night, basically I get my tent set up and I fall asleep. But no, I will stretch a little bit and again do kind of some of those same stretches that I did in the morning. This next question comes from Mike Has to Hike. That's a good one. Greetings, Rev. So good to see a Q&A from you. I'm waiting to get confirmation on my March 8th PCT permit. What is the single most important thing you can think of / piece of advice when mentally processing everything in the beginning of a through hike? Thank you in advance. I've got a video on the mental aspect of hiking, and it's very, very helpful. We get prepared for a through hike physically, or hopefully we do, or either that or we'll slowly get into the physical part of through hiking. But we neglect, I think, the mental and the emotional part of through hiking. And from my opinion, is I think the most important. One of the things that helped me the most is when I got to the halfway point of the PCT, I was so excited. You know, you're halfway through and you get so excited, man. But then I started walking down the trail and I thought, I'm only halfway through. I've got this much more to go to the very end, and I got very discouraged and very melancholy, and you know, you always have thoughts of quitting almost every day. You've got to look at it this way. Just look at each day and forget about the end of the trail. Just worry about getting to the next camp spot. And then when you get there, get a good night's rest, hike as much as you can, and then only worry about getting to the next campsite. But don't look at the whole trail, whatever trail you're doing, don't look at the whole trail, but just look at every day. Don't worry about the end of the trail. Don't worry about getting in 2,653.1 miles of 350 miles of the Pinhoti Trail. Just worry about getting finished with that day. Make short range goals, and it'll be a lot better on you mentally. And then emotionally, man, I miss my grandkids and my wife and my kids. I miss them terribly on the trail. I mean, 5.5 months, that's a long time to be away from your family and the people that you love. Your life is the trail. And if you don't look at it that way, then you're not going to finish. You're going to quit and go home. You're going to get homesick and whatever. And so prepare yourself mentally, prepare yourself emotionally, and then of course, you know, prepare yourself as much physically as you can, but the emotional part and the mental part, I think, is the most important part of the through hike. All right, this next question comes from Mike Delfava, 7997. And it says, hey Rev, I'm a fellow hiker / walker in the 7th decade of his life. While I don't aspire to do multi-day through hikes, I am curious as to what backpack you recommend and what you pack for a day hike. Thanks, and please take care of yourself. Thanks, Mike. I'm doing a day hike right now, and most of my hikes are day hikes. I have the privilege of living close to the East Bay Regional Park System or whatever, but there's tons of trails through this, and we're talking, you know, 3,000 and 4,000 feet of elevation. So I can get a real good workout. I can do like 18 miles if I wanted to of trails around here. Now, what I do when I go on a day hike is I'm preparing myself and training myself and getting used to my pack that I'll be taking on a through hike. And so I'll carry basically everything that I would be carrying on a through hike. Now again, if all you're doing is just going on a day hike, throw some stuff in the lightest backpack that you have and then take off on a trail. But I think the main thing is just get moving. Get outside and get moving. Man, if you're not moving, you're dying. Again, I hope that answered your question. All right, this question comes from Curing Dongo 13. It says, I enjoy watching your videos and your helpful tips. What advice can you give to a beginner who wants to start hiking? I am in my 50s. Looking forward to your next video. I've thought about doing a video, a YouTube video on tips for beginning hikers, but I feel like that's such a general video to do. But what I would do, and what I did do when I was a beginner hiker, is I started watching YouTube videos of people taking through hikes, and I mean, I would just watch. You know, a lot of people watch on a YouTube video. They watch the sceneries and stuff like that, and I do that, and I'm impressed with it. I watch the person's shoes. Like, for example, I mean, who doesn't watch Darwin? Okay, Darwin on the Trail. If you've not watched him, be sure and watch him. I've learned tons of stuff from him, and of course Dixie with Homemade Wanderlust. Check her channel out, and oh my goodness, there's so many good YouTubers that you can watch now and learn from. You learn from those that are successful. And Darwin has done several through hikes, and a successful YouTuber, as well as Dixie and others, and Jupiter. And they're successful through hikers, and so you can learn from them. Another thing is, just get out there. Trial and error. That's the best way to learn things. It's the most expensive way sometimes, and the most painful way. But trial and error. Just get out there and take all the stuff that you would take on a through hike or whatever, and go to a place and stay there a night. And then once you've got that down, once you've got one night down and you've got the hiking thing down, then stay 2 nights, and then stay 3 nights, and just push it. Don't be satisfied with where you are in your hiking career. Just push it a little bit more and a little bit more. Usually when you stay 5 days, if you can master that, if you can stay out for 5 days in a row and be successful, then you can do a through hike. I don't like to go any more than a 5-day food carry, and so every 5 days I'm going into a trail town or resupplying or doing something, going back into civilization. And so the longest basically that you stay on a through hike at a time is you stay about 5 days before you go into a trail town. Now, just get out there and just try your gear out. Oh my goodness, I met this one guy on the PCT when I first started out, and we stopped at I think it's Hauser Creek the first night, but he had never put his tent up. He didn't even know how to put it together, had to read instructions, and I thought, oh Lord, he ain't gonna make it. And I didn't see him after that, so I don't know if he made it or not. What might work for me might not work for you, and vice versa. And so that's why you need to find out what tent Darwin uses, and then perhaps maybe find one kind of like it and use it out, for yourself, and see if it works for you. The same thing with backpack and socks and shoes and just everything. See if it works for you. But again, trial and error is the best way to learn. Well, that's all the time that I have for questions. If I didn't get to your question, then I will get to it next time. And if you'd like to ask me a question, and next time I do a Q&A, then I'll try to get to your question, all right? So until then, I will see you down the trail.